So first I want to take you on a little hardware tour here. This is the Fonepad, and this is Asus's new either 7-inch tablet or mega-sized phone. You can see the earpiece called out up here. This can be used for voice calls, which I'll demo in just a second. This we're going to come across to the back here. First of all, this is the not titanium. This is the champagne gold version. This device is also available in a titanium gray, depending on your tastes. You'll notice the most notable thing down here is the Intel inside logo. It's because this is powered by an Intel Atom Z2420 CPU, clocked at 1.2 gigahertz. And if we go ahead and pop the top cover off, we can see, by the way, that's backed up by a gig of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, and that is augmentable via micro SD up to an additional 32 gigs of memory. There's your micro SIM slot for all your cellular connectivity needs. And pop that back on. In addition to cellular, we've got 802.11 BGNN, Bluetooth 3.0. No camera on the back, but there is a camera on the front, and that is a 1.2 megapixel unit. The battery life is being quoted at 9 hours. I don't have a milliamp hour rating. I think it's a little bit north of 4200, but don't quote me on that yet. And there's that display. This is a 1280 by 800 WXGA resolution display with 10-finger capacitive touch. And there you can see the Asus skin, subtle in some areas, not in others. This is Android 4.1.2, so if you hop into the launcher, you'll notice that is almost that actually is a stock experience. It's almost indistinguishable from a Nexus 7, say. So you come back here, you see some of Asus's widgets, including my favorite, the little Fonepad charge indicator. A little more impressive on the pad phone, maybe, but still pretty cool here. Little mail indicator, the clock. But really, notable when you drop down the notification tray, this is entirely different. Obviously, very, very Asus. And also when you say fire up a text message here, which, by the way, can be just a regular old SMS, because this is a phone. You notice the different keyboard there that Asus has thrown on here. So just talking about the feel and hand a little bit, since we've had our hands on a couple 7 and 8-inch tablets so far, the metal backing does feel pretty good in the hand. It actually calls to mind a lot of other aluminum-clad phones in particular, just because of its size. We've got, you can't really see too much of it under here, but you've got the speakerphone here, lowerly mounted headphone jack. I mean, it's definitely in the same family as the Nexus 7 just by virtue of its size and because there are only so many ways to make a 7-inch tablet. But the metal feel in hand it feels good, but I'm not entirely sure I'd want to throw this down on countertops quite as freely as I do the Nexus 7, just because I feel like this is going to get scratched up a bit more than a rubber-backed device. But it's certainly priced correctly, and one feature, at least one feature it doesn't have that you can't find on the Nexus 7 is that top-mounted earpiece, which, if we kind of bring it up to my head here, you can see what it looks like in case you're wondering, in case you don't live in an Asian market where this is common. This is what the Fonepad looks like against your head. Not sure I could live with it, but if it is something that interests you, this is definitely a device to have a look at, especially considering its pricing, which is fairly aggressive for a device in this price range. I believe it's around $249. So anyway, just a quick look at the Asus Fonepad here at the Asus booth at